So, my name is Jeremy, and today I'm going to be presenting on transformational and transactional leadership. My agenda for today is just kind of go over transformational and transactional leadership, talk about each one, what it is, and key components to kind of make it up. From there, I'm going to talk about my experience with each type of leadership. And then I'm going to go into an interesting find that I found this week later. So first things first, I'm going over transformational leadership. And a transformational leader is a leader who basically motivates and inspires their employees to be the best employee and person they can be in the workforce. So some of the key concepts or like core values I found that define a transformational leader is individualized consideration. When talk about individualized consideration, that's when this sort of leader attends to their followers, their needs, and listen to them and listen to their likes and dislikes, kind of just kind of be the best leader they can be for them. They're also very intellectual stimulation. So encourages, motivates, and creates arousal and thoughts in their employees to pretty much try to stimulate them on an intellectual level, try to make them be the best employee they can be, and in turn create job output. Next is inspirational motivation, which I'm sure everybody kind of gets and understands. It's just transformational leaders are just super inspirational and really work on motivating their employees to try to be the best employee for that specific company and organization. And then the last one is idealized influence. A lot of transformational leaders really have this perspective on idealized influence. So they really want to be role models to their employees. They they want them to kind of follow in their footsteps. So them being a great example of a boss, they want that to trickle down to their employees and just be an excellent role model. Next, I'm going to go over transactional leadership. Transactional leadership is the transactional leadership style motivates employees through rewards and punishments, which motivates them going for the short term. So pretty much transactional leaders kind of just focusing on like the rewards, punishment, way of leadership. So you do something well, you get a reward. If you do something wrong, you reprimand. Pretty much. So it motivates employees, but only for a short period of time, because they always kind of just see the end game. Like, what if I do something wrong? I'm going to be punished right away. If I do something right, I'm going to get a small reward, but only if I do something right. So it's only going to motivate them for like that time. So some of the key components I found that really define transactional leaders are they're a lot of times resistant to change, especially in my experience. Like one of the transactional leaders I had was very resistant to change. She didn't want to kind of just go with the flow or just latch onto anything new that might be coming. She was very old fashioned, just wanted to stick to what she knew. They motivate externally, so going back on, they just reward punishment. Nothing. They'll try to motivate you inside or try to stimulate you or anything. Just punishment, rewarding, punishment, rewarding. They're very directive, and they're usually inflexible. So again, in my experience, she was very inflexible. Didn't want to work with nobody. Didn't want to try to motivate you any other way. It's just punishment, reward. Here's a gold star. Here's a write-up. So I'm going to go into a story. So I'm going to go into both of my experiences with the transformational and transactional leader, and both of them came from my ER experience. So I was an ER tech for 3 years in a hospital in the high desert. And so when I first started, it was my first experience with an actual transactional leader, to where she ran the ER, eventually moved up in the ranks and became our ER director. So a few times she would just come on the floor, and she wouldn't really portray herself as a leader who would kind of tailor to your wants and needs. She was kind of just it's my way or the highway. So whenever you did something wrong, right away she would just rattle off, this is what you have to do right, this is what you have to do wrong, this is going to be your punishment, right up, not right up. Very seldom did she actually motivate you with rewards. So it was mostly just motivation to punishment. Make sure you get your beds clean, make sure you get your vitals done, make sure you know what you're doing, or else she's gonna punish you right away. And then I'm going to the first time I worked with a transformational leader. So after I put some time in there for about 6 months, so I was up to be able to request a new schedule. So once I was able to request a new schedule, which Sunday, Monday, Tuesday nights, I got my new boss. His name was Jesse. He's probably one of the best leaders I've ever had to work for. very transformational. Right away, I kind of just saw the difference in the culture of the different styles of leadership that varied from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday night shift to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night shift. It was just completely different. So right away, I felt the motivation and the way he wanted to inspire you. Right away, when you were drowning in work, he was the type of leader that would right away just come and get his hands dirty and just kind of work with you. Right away, he would just be like, hey, keep pushing, get this done, get this out of the way. He would allow you to think for yourself. Working in the ER, you have to think quick with your feet, have critical thinking skills, because anything could come in at any time. So he would really hone in on that and be like, hey, you know what? I trust you enough to be able to think on yourself. If you need anything, I'm here. Come and talk to me. But if you don't, then, I'll help you figure it out. So I feel like it was really welcoming, and he made me actually want to work there, especially when times got tough. It's funny that I have one of my friends put this picture up. This is at 6 a.m. This is probably one of the worst night I've ever worked there. And this specific room is like in a little corner. So that's one of my mentors. And we kind of just stuck away for like a minute just to kind of sit down. We were super short staffed that night, and we shut the curtains so somebody came in there and take pictures. But he was the type of leader that he came and he seen that, and he was, hey, what's up? Did everybody want coffee? So he went out and bought everybody coffee, donuts, and just really made you feel welcome, like he wanted you on his shift. So if you knew what you were doing and he had your trust, he didn't even really bother. And so one interesting find that I have that I got from this literature was transformational leadership appeared to display stronger relationships with criteria that reflected follower satisfaction and motivation than with criteria that reflected performance. Now the first part didn't really surprise me, but the second part where it says more motivation than with criteria that reflected performance, I figured, kind of working for a transformational leader, I figured that would kind of make everybody want to work harder and have better work output. So I thought that was kind of I didn't really expect that. Yeah, that's
How did he go? Oh, I was just gonna say, how do you feel like it went?
oh, like this.
Wow.
Just me questions so we can start eating.
How did he go?
I feel like my slides could have been better. I was nervous, so I tried to pretend that I'm not nervous, so it doesn't look like I'm nervous. Yeah. So I think I said a whole bunch of times. So maybe practice my slides a little bit more. Cause I went over them, and I kind of had notes, but I tried not to look at the notes once I got it filmed. I just kind of forgot everything I had to cover, so I had to keep looking back. So I feel like that was.
What do you like?
Oh my gosh. I guess I really like presenting, but I'm trying to get more comfortable with the idea of presenting. So, where the banana comes from. It's awkward. Anybody else? Dr. Filler?
So what's all written in your notepad?
Why
Why do you have that up there?
Well, I just kind of wanted to just make sure I hit like keynotes.
Okay.
So when I talked about like individualized consideration, intellectual stimulation, I kind of just jotted down like key things I wanted to say just to kind of get those ideas across. Because we all read the literature, so we all kind of know it. But if I'm speaking to a crowd that has no idea what any of this stuff was, if I just rattle these terms off, it's gonna go over their head. So I kind of want to be like, yeah, this is a key component that this leader has, and this is what it means to have this. So I pretty much just wrote that down. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.
What is your like rehearsal process look like?
I pretty much sit in front of my girlfriend and my dogs. I kind of just went over it like 3 or 4 times. It went a lot smoother then.
In this question?
Yeah. No, it went a lot smoother then, but it's different when you get older. Like I said, I don't really like presenting, so I try to pretend that I'm comfortable. So I can actually like tell myself how I'm comfortable.
Do you practice a different self?
Not really. I kind of just try to stay on myself.
Okay.
Because then I don't want to have to when I get up here, have to turn on a different person. I'd rather just keep it mellow, like myself the whole time. So if I'm up here, still myself versus like if I get up here and I practice a different way, and I'm up here and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like in my touch quote, everybody has a plan until you get hit in the mouth. I don't want to get up here and get hit in the mouth and my plan just kind of just goes away. So I'd rather just practice how I'm doing.
I think you didn't seem nervous up there. I don't know if it was because of the banana suit or if it was, but you're a pretty relaxed and calm guy. And that can be really helpful for different types of crowds. So depending on what you're trying to do, what you're trying to go for, I think that could also come up as like, I want more, or like a little bit more, right? So because you're so relaxed, like your body movements were very like chill, like kind of like this kind of thing, like like.
I'm talking about my hands.
Yeah, and so I think it's good to use those things because you're emphasizing points, you're getting things across, but matching it to the audience that you're going for, right? Like if you and I are like drinking a beer, like totally cool, right? If you're giving me an informational meeting, like telling me how to do something, like it might be a little bit invalidating to yourself, right? Like I wasn't offended by it, but I was kind of like, why is he gesticulating that way towards me?
Oh, okay. I get you.
So when you practice, is practicing in a different self a little bit, right? Like
Okay.
bring your personality, bring
Yeah.
Jeremy, because that's super like relaxing and very down to earth.
The shower is a really good place to.
The shower?
Yeah, you ever practice the shower?
Oh, practice in the shower. So he wasn't in the shower.
Shower before I came.
So that I think that will help you get into presenter mode, right?
Mhm.
There's Jeremy that we chill, and there's presenter mode Jeremy.
Right.
But
That's what I'm trying to like. I was trying to like figure out.
Yeah.
Cause like I was going over it and I'm like, man, there's some people in my class that are like theatrical. So I was trying to like, yeah, exactly. So I was like, I have to figure out how to kind of just bring that out.
You did well.
Yeah. When I present, I'm very just like, I just present.
Yeah.
But I know every presentation is not gonna work that way. And there's gonna be somewhere I have to like bring more energy to the room versus like I said, like if we're just kind of just talking.
I don't know if you have to necessarily bring a lot of energy to the room. It's just don't bring it down with I guess I don't know if it's making much sense, but more of you're giving content that's very good and very high level, very intellectual, right? So don't bring it down with something that makes me feel like you don't actually know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Like if I kind of talk slower, or like wasn't like I didn't have the same energy, kind of like I was BSing.
I feel like a word that he may want to use is captivating. Maybe like captivate the audience. It's like you have to fill them with energy, but you have to
Yeah.
captivate
get their
attention. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and on that too, I found myself drifting for a fair amount. And I mean, honestly, I was thinking of banana jokes for a lot of it, which probably would happen. But like, for me, that was like more interesting. But I wanted to be like, what's the story? And I thought, oh, we have a personal story. And then there wasn't like an emotion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And so I think anytime that I think about giving a presentation, I think, is this a presentation that I'd want to listen to?
Mhm.
Why am I giving the presentation? And how do I convey why the people in the audience want to listen to the presentation?
Yeah.
And a lot of times that happens at the beginning, even if it's something very academic, you have to capture the why.
Yeah.
You know,
At first, yeah.
like why does this matter to anybody sitting here? Because otherwise, there's no reason for us to listen.
Right.
So,
That makes
but like I love your demeanor. I feel like the fact that even though you said you're nervous, you sounded super just like I'm comfortable in front of people.
Yeah.
I mean that already puts you really far ahead of most people in the world.
Yeah.
You gotta pretend for 5 minutes.
Yeah, but I'd say focus on the why.
But I know, like what you said at first, that's kind of what I was trying to like say without bringing energy, but kind of just have a little more emotion.
Yeah, and even just like the most easy way to engage is just like ask a question that makes people think.
So I think that you were just a really natural speaker there. You didn't seem like you were super nervous or anything at all. But going off of similar what they said, George had suggested checking out TED Talks on good presentations.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I think it helped a lot too. So I think if you wanted to give it a shot, I think it could maybe give you some couple of good ideas too. And that they also talk about getting the audience's curiosity and trying to look at it more too. So trying to find a way to get us to be curious about what you have to say.
Kind of starts like a question.
Mhm.
Like, who has ever heard of this constitution? Or have you ever had one of these?
Something I would say in regards to kind of the topic and what I wrote for you is interweave your personal story throughout. We waited until about 3 minutes and 40 seconds to start that personal story. And by that point, it was just intense content, academic, and there may have been some drifting in that, where you could have started like the worst night of my life or the worst night of my working life ended at 7 a.m. And it could have been a horrible experience, but my boss was a transformational leader. And let me tell you about what that looked like for me. And so you interweave like what that looks like with an example, with a story, and you say what made it terrible, and you say what made them great about it. And then you switch and say, I had a transactional leader, and that looked like this, and it didn't work out for me in that way, or it was something, right?
Right.
You're trying to deliver the content, but also captivate, engage, and get us to connect with you personally. And your story was good. Just where you place that, I think is a strategic endeavor.
I had kind of thought about that after. I was like, I'll just leave it.
It's good.
But I should have just moved.
Yeah, that's good. The next time.
Great baseline.
Yeah. Yeah, good job. Thank you.